Frack, welcome to the Frack The Canon. I am joined by the two baddest mother frackers around. What is up, Tyler and René? How you all doing?
Good, we'll have a beer.
Been all right.
Alrighty. So we're talking about the live action version of Cowboy Bebop, which came out a month ago, about give or take. Maybe a month and a half. But
early this month, right?
No, it came out in November.
Oh, that's right.
End of November, yeah.
Yeah.
And as of tonight, right now, it's been officially canceled, like the fastest cancel we've ever seen by Netflix.
Yeah.
Before we move on to that, let's talk about the show. What were your reactions about the show? René, we'll start with you because this was kind of your baby.
Yeah, I was initially excited about it. I thought they were gonna stay with the original story, but it seems like they took a lot of narrative liberties, directions, in which they told the story that most fans knew and loved. And it I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I thought it was interesting, and I still wanted to see what direction they were going to go with, because there was a lot of changes to the story. Even like characters were like changed.
Tyler?
Yeah, I completely agree. I also was going into this very excited because it looked cool. There were scenes that looked really cool.
Yeah.
And that was, like, for me, kind of worth the price of admission. But there are other scenes that don't look great at all. And I agree that although I appreciate their courage for the risks they took, I don't like a lot of the decisions they made and the changes they made.
Mm-hmm. It was a lot like Bebop. It was dancing to the beat of its own drum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was just kind of weird by some of the choices they made. Like I remember episode 1, I'm like, okay, that's weird. When they pretty much fused the first episode with other episodes, I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting. Like they're bringing in Faye this early. So it felt like, I remember, for lack of a better word, I remember there's like a remix of Cowboy Bebop. Mm-hmm. I don't know how else to describe it, because
exactly.
I'm like, what is this? I'm like, and then I'm okay. That's a choice. It's not, but it was also, there were some shots that were just like the anime. Because funny too, I just watched the anime like on Hulu like a week before, so it was fresh in my mind. So I'm like, this is shot for shot, almost like the anime. So it was kind of, it was weird of the juxtaposition of them like being a slave to the anime for the shot, but then just throwing in, like, no, let's throw in Faye like episode 1. I'm like, wait, what? One thing that I thought was really stupid, and that was the dumbest thing I thought, was Spike Spiegel's real name, Fearless.
Oh.
Like, that is so dumb. I couldn't justify. I couldn't understand the reasoning or the justification. Go ahead.
It kind of makes sense, because it's almost like they try to fix a plot hole in the anime, because if the Syndicate, if Vicious had found out that Spike Spiegel was out and about being a cowboy, a bounty hunter, he would have found out a lot sooner and killed him off as soon as he could, you know?
But that wasn't really a big
plot hole. But I'm not saying it's okay, huh?
But that wasn't a big plot hole, though, was it? Like, that wasn't really a big issue in the anime.
No, it's like a very small plot hole.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter, though. It
doesn't matter.
They made a mountain of an anthill. So I'm like, this is
mountain out of a molehill. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. Tomato. But it felt like it was a plot hole that didn't need to be explained.
Exactly. So I'm like, none of this makes sense at all. I'm like, why? Like that changed, and then I remember being like, where are you going with this? And then like the final, we're just jumping into the final episode.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, what?
The twist at the end.
It was terrible. It ruins the whole show.
Also, Vicious is a bitch in this live action. Yes. He's not vicious at all. He's just a little rich boy.
You already said it. Go ahead. He is a bitch. He is.
No,
a bitch.
You mess up the two most important characters for like the whole message of the whole show is Vicious and Julia.
Yeah.
You mess those two
They
up. You don't have
softened the characters.
a lot. I think Julia more so. Well, Vicious in the show is the most different, but Julia is like kind of the thread for Spike. If you
Yeah.
take out her essence, like you don't have a show.
Yeah, because the whole point was Spike was so into this like tough woman.
Mhm.
Like, oh, his thing is, I like a woman who could kick my ass. And
Mhm.
Julia in an anime was that type of woman.
What were the good things about the live action version?
I think
Well,
a lot of the comedy
Oh.
works. Like my favorite
Agreed.
scene in the live action show is when Jet goes to his daughter's recital while
yeah.
he's in the bar while Spike's fighting like the entire gang of people in the background. He's like, "Yeah, go, daughter, playing piano or whatever she was doing, dressed
It
as a
was a
piano."
recital. Yeah.
Yeah, recital. And then Spike is like getting his butt kicked behind him. I love that scene. So
Okay.
I think the chemistry worked great between Spike and Jet too. I thought.
Yeah.
I did love that. I did love that the chemistry between all three of them. Actually, I just like, Frack. It's gonna be hard to compare the anime. You're right. All right, never mind. There goes that rule. Like
Yeah.
their
Their dynamic changed. Like, it's a lot different in this live action
I
version.
mean-
They're more familial here, whereas in the anime they were kind of distant and had like their own
with Faye though,
secrets.
because Spike and
Especially with
Jet
Faye.
were pretty close, but with Faye they
Yeah.
were pretty different. But they were all. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, fine, this is cool. This is different. It's weird though because it was the same beats, like it was the same enemies. I'm like, we saw this already in the anime.
Mhm.
Because I thought it was gonna be a continuation of like.
Yeah,
Picking
wasn't
up
there
after the
rumors
anime.
about that?
I
Yeah,
don't even pick up
they're-
after the anime. They pick up after the anime, and they're gonna flashback every now and then to the adventures of the anime with live action. But I'm like, no, you're just remixing the anime. I'm like, it's the same build, it's the same thing. I'm like, it's the same, pretty much always the same end result for the most part.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Well, with different characters because they're not
Yeah.
the same.
yeah,
I mean, yeah,
the characters were
yeah.
definitely executed differently.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it was. I wanted to. I don't know. Like, I was just like, oh, this is cool. Never mind. Like, I don't know. I just there's something that just like
There
changing.
was,
Yeah,
it was up
Like
and
him
down.
being
Yeah,
his name
exactly.
was stupid. Well, there was another thing that kind of pissed me off too, besides the Julia thing. Vicious was a little bitch.
Mhm.
I'm like, Vicious was like you said. I was like super let down by this. I'm like, I don't know. Well,
I'm trying to see if I know
overall,
what
how
you're
did you
talking.
both feel? What?
I'm trying to think of what you might be talking about because maybe we're thinking the same thing.
Go for it. What do you bring it up?
I can't remember honestly. I'm trying to think of it.
Well, to help build you some time, I'll just say, I was kind of like René in the sense too, where there would be like 3 or 4 episodes in a row where I'm, yeah, that was cool, that was cool, that was cool, and then it gets to like a really bad episode, which there were a couple, and then
Yeah.
then I like lose all my like excitement about the show, and
I
then
would
it
have-
builds
sorry.
up again. No, that's it, yeah.
I would have to say if I had to pick a favorite episode, it would definitely be the environmentalist episode because you
Mhm.
kind of learn a bit more about Faye. And then I think
Mhm.
the episode where they were with Whitney Haggis Matsumoto, which I thought was weird that they would change that character entirely instead of the character of Whitney being this guy that scams Faye and makes Faye collect his debt. It's this woman who just cons cryogenically frozen persons from the gate explosion, and
Yes.
just calls Faye her daughter.
Yeah, and tricks her into thinking that was her daughter. That was the best writing in the whole show, I thought.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah. Because we keep saying like it's a remix of like the original, and they did take some things and make them better. I think Faye's backstory is one of them, but at the same time, I think they kind of also overexplored backstory.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
That's what it is.
And that's, I
Yeah.
mean, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say why I think, and I know we're still talking. This is like, I just have to state this about the anime. Why the anime worked in that regard, whereas this show didn't, in my opinion, is anime keeps that to a minimum, and like the mystery of all the characters is what keeps it really interesting. And because we like definitely overexplored Jet, because
he
I feel like
a kid in this
yeah,
one.
I didn't mind that either.
I didn't mind that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's kind of cool. That humanizes it more.
Yeah, for sure. But like it feels like undeserved when we find out like his whole backstory. And it's like, well, then there goes any reason for like any future exploration of the character, because we know like everything about him now. So like, what's next?
Yeah, that, and then what was it? There was a one episode that I did like, was kind of tribute. I don't think there was an analog or an analog or a duplicate for that one. Was the one where he goes in that mine through that machine and gets trapped?
I hated that episode.
Oh, that one, the longest episode.
That was the worst.
But that was like, I can't think of a. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. But I remember being, I do like, what the like? Come on, like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, René.
No, it's sorry. You go ahead.
No, I forgot.
I'm just agreeing with you.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you too, because I feel like that was one of the worst ones, because I'm used to the anime version where it was Faye that was like trying to escape the Bebop and trying to find a way to like get out of debt. And
but there I go again. They're making changes that don't even make sense. So that's why I just saw the anime. I was watching the anime. I'm like, that's kind of cool, but I'm like,
yeah. With the anime, I like the exposition of that story, because it was a kid who was basically a vegetable trapped in his own mind, and he wanted to escape, and he created this augmented reality in space, basically. And it kind of took away from that, because it was kind of like that heart of the story, you know. So that's what one of my beefs with the live action is. Definitely the exposition of the story lacked the heart of the original story.
Yeah, that episode perfectly expresses like the flaws of the live action show. Is you take something that was really intrinsic and deep and kind of a mind frack, and then you turn it into just a story point for Spike that was completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
But there were a lot we get to that for the whole anime though. I mean the whole live action, not the whole live action. So I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, it's Spike's story, right? So it made sense to me I'm like, okay, well, they're making it about Spike. But about the anime, though, it was about each individual character, so that's cool. I'm like, it's just like, this was a clusterfuck. Like, it was just like, changes were made that didn't need to be changed. Like, I actually like Faye a lot more in this one than
yeah.
Yeah, I do. Too. I do like Faye in this one more than in the anime, actually. I will say that, yeah.
She was a lot more so catty and aloof. She actually has some character development.
Like, I like Jet a lot more to this one. I just didn't care for Spike as much in the first that I did in the original, in the anime. But I'm just like, I don't know. Like, it was just like changes were made, didn't even change. I just like, well, how would you have made it different? How would you have addressed this? How would you have gone about making this show? Either one of you.
I would fix Vicious. Vicious wasn't scary at all because he was just as Renee said, just a big baby. And then fix Julia. That's if you fix those two, it's a lot better. And the twist ending of like,
oh my god,
that was so stupid. I hated that. I'm like, wait, what?
I do not like that at all.
Either set it up better, so we know something's up instead of it being a U-turn of the characters in the whole show, or make it not happen. And that's that too. Because the whole thing at the church in the anime happens like in the middle. It's not like the end.
No,
Yeah. So now we don't have that ending because of what happened.
that's the rumor, anyways.
All right,
We'll
Renee,
see
how
if-
would you fix it? How would you change it?
I definitely agree with Tyler. The exposition of the ending, like that twist, the unnecessary twist, and uncharacteristically.
Is that how you would fix it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And definitely the exposition of a certain character being introduced into the series.
It's a spoiler show. You can say it.
Okay. Ed, come on.
I don't.
I think Ed, I have a theory.
I think the cast. Okay, go ahead, Tyler.
I just think Ed's in Spike's head. I don't think Ed's real.
Really? Like he's like passed out drunk?
Yeah, yeah. And I would love that if the show continues. Which at this point, there's a petition going around just saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna sign it. But it makes Ed better. Yeah, I just didn't like how it. I don't mind the casting. It's just how they introduced her in the end, and it made her seem not like Ed.
Yeah, like a caricature.
Yeah. I mean, I know Ed was a character, but like oh gosh, I can't even explain it. But
it wasn't real seeming. Like that's why I think she was a they were a hallucination.
Like he was like possibly having like a foreshadowing hallucination of Ed joining them. Because how was Ein with him? I thought Ein would have been with Jet. You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Because Jet wants to keep his daughter. Oh, maybe it. See, there's a plot hole right there. Maybe he was giving up Ein because of no hope of seeing his daughter again after how the episode of the show ended.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any final thoughts?
Well, Ray, we want to know how you would fix the show.
Yeah, how would
I would just make a continuation. Like, nope, this is the further adventures of the Cowboy Bebop of the Bebop. Like just new characters.
And just make it pick up where the anime series left off with Spike on the staircase.
New
just like
villain.
don't even touch these. And I'll just flashbacks. Remember when we did this, and just how it helps with the whatever that current bounty. But like I would never ever touch that again. I would have done this. I'm like I remember being like. I remember being, this is horrible. This is stupid. This is really not good. Watching it. I remember the first episode. I'm like, all right, that's kind of cool, whatever. But the more I went on, I'm like, nah, this is. I was bored by the fifth episode. I'm done with the show. Yeah. But I kept watching it, and I'm like, I just wouldn't have touched the anime at all. I'm like, at all. I'm like, why would you do that? Like anyone that does that is full of themselves. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like that's why I'm scared for them to do say
a classic.
What?
You know. You can't improve a classic.
Right. It's basically. like the Citizen Kane of anime. Like it's almost perfect.
Yeah. Another thing is like I said before about the heart like the anime had more heart than this live action version. Yeah, the characters were more interesting in this one, more fleshed out. Well, I mean the main three anyways. Everybody else don't want to touch that. But I found myself wanting having a more of an emotional connection with the anime as opposed to the live action. And like I would have those tear-jerking moments during the anime because they had that human connection component, whereas the live action just kind of doesn't have that, you know. And I think that's what made the anime so special.
Yeah, and to bounce off what you said there, it's what I'm realizing is why I think also the live action show doesn't work nearly as much is because they try to be so tongue-in-cheek with the whole thing the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Like, and the Cowboy Bebop is a serious thing. Like the anime, it doesn't do the tongue-in-cheek thing. at all, and you can't have that same impact if the entire time you're like, we're like a neo noir from the future, like, aren't we weird? Aren't we funny? And it's like, dude, people are dying everywhere. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, they're so nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
Any final comments? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, one more from me. There's a lot of stuff going around on the internet, like Cowboy Bebop failed because of its wokeness, and
oh yeah, there was definitely a lot of that in this live action.
Yeah, but I didn't think anything was too bad. Like the two things they're citing as why it failed is like asexuality, which it was never really established in the anime.
No.
So it's like, and she doesn't have memory, so it makes sense for her to be open to new
that I didn't have a problem with. But in the original anime, with the first characters that were the first bounties that we were introduced to, I can't remember their names. Oh God. But it had to do with the red-eye dealer and his pregnant wife.
Yeah.
I noticed it's a minor detail. In the live action, she refuses the beer. In the anime, she drinks the beer, even though she's pregnant. Air quotes again. Like, they changed that for some reason. Like, why?
Yeah, take the figure too. That if you haven't seen the anime, you would think that was weird, but then figure out later, oh, it's just exposing that she was never,
really pregnant.
Yeah. But the other one too, that people are saying though, like the wokeness is why it's ruining it, is like there was a cross-dressing character, and it's like that's not a big deal.
But that was in the anime. What's his name?
There's a trans character in the anime, and took shower and everything. That was.
I thought it was a hermaphrodite. I think it was born that way, or she was born that way.
Okay.
No, it was an experiment. I think that experiment that gone wrong from because he was a veteran from a war that he partook in.
Yeah, I just thought that he went carried off as a man, but he had both parts.
Wow. Well,
that's what I took it as when I saw it. That he was a hermaphrodite.
One, it's like hundreds of years in the future, and having a character dressed in different clothes isn't a big deal, especially compared to the anime, which has like way more shocking, not worse, maybe not worse, but like way more shocking way of like revealing that to the audience.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about the
Yeah. So yeah, it's not because of wokeness. It's just bad writing, and bad cinematography, too many Dutch angles, bad VFX in a lot of places. Show could have used another year of development, honestly. And that's all for me.
Got Renee, final thoughts?
I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you same freaking time, same freaking channel. Frack off.